Hey guys, I'm Greg Aronowitz, and this is BarnyardFX. So happy Halloween! Wait, I know what you're thinking. It's October, but it's not Halloween yet. But in the special effects industry, all of October is Halloween. Actually, all year is Halloween, but in October, it becomes like all about Halloween because there's all kinds of, fright fests going on and big theme park attractions, and every time the phone rings, somebody's like, hey, I was just wondering if you can help me make a crazy Halloween costume. So, October in my mind equals Halloween, which means here at BarnyardFX, we are going to make sure that every video we do this month is somehow related to Halloween. And we're going to start today with costumes. Costumes are a huge part of Halloween. Some people like to go all out and be demons or zombies with half their face hanging off, and other people just like to dress up sometimes as like Marty McFly. Keep it simple, move around, don't get too hot. For me, all year long, I'm like putting people in makeup and doing all this stuff, so I try to kind of keep it simple. But that's another story. Somebody else who wanted to dress up in costume is my friend Ro from Nerdy Nummies. She's doing an episode that comes out today on her channel about the Borg from Star Trek, and she wanted me to turn her into 7 of 9. I'm no stranger to the Borg. I've done a ton of merchandise stuff like action figures and model kits and statues, so I kind of knew exactly how to go about it. 7 of 9, when she's actually part of the Voyager crew, is a very simplistic and easy costume to do. So I'm going to show you how I made hers, and maybe you can do one at home if you want to be 7 of 9 for this Halloween. Ro is a huge Voyager fan, and she wanted the costume to be really authentic. So the first thing I did was dive into the great internet and try and find all the reference I could on pictures of the appliances that Jeri Ryan wore to convert her into 7 of 9. We're specifically doing the eyepiece, the earpiece, and the hand. I started doing the facial pieces by finding a head cast I had in inventory that was very similar to Ro's measurements. We didn't have time to cast her head, but it happened to be that Marisa has very similar sized features. So using the photo reference that I printed out from the internet, I drew lines that represented where I wanted the appliances to go. And then I grabbed a block of Roma clay. Now you've seen me use this before. It's just an oil-based clay. It's great for sculpting, sticks really well to the face cast. It's soft so you can work fast, but it's firm enough that you can get the details and kind of sculpt in all of the biomechanical elements that make up the appliance. So I molded the appliances one at a time by laying the head on its side, taking some water clay and building a wall, kind of like in the shape of a bowl, around each one. I hit it with some crystal clear to kind of act as a release for the mold or separation for the clay. It also stiffens the clay up and protects it a little, because you're going to want to mix your plaster and pour it in there and then kind of gently rub it all over the sculpture to make sure all the air bubbles and everything come out. And the crystal clear helps aid in that process. I used hydrocal plaster. You can use plaster of Paris or any kind of plaster you can get your hands on. The hydrocal dries pretty fast. In about 15 minutes it was cured. And I can pop it off, and I have to clean all the clay out. And you'll see why the crystal clear helps. If I hadn't crystal cleared it, the clay would have like bit a little more into the plaster and I would have really had to scrub it out. But it's actually popping the pieces off of the face cast, kind of already started pulling the clay out. You want to make sure that it's all really clean, because when you do your latex, if there's any clay in there, it's going to stick to the latex and then it'll probably fall off when you pull it out, and then you'll have like a hole or some kind of damage that you'll want to fix. So make sure that's all good and clean. Let them dry a little bit, and then the next step, which Red 5 did, is stippling latex in there. And we do about 5 or 6 layers, stippled in really thin. The first layer stipples in pretty light, but you push it in pretty hard so that the detail is all, you want to like push that latex into all the corners and everything. As that starts to dry, you go in with some thicker coats that just makes it a heavier piece. Once that's done, put some latex on the face, and then you mix up a polyfoam, which is a 2-part urethane. It's a liquid, and you have to measure out each part because the mix, and I think the brand we use is like 70-30, and when you put it together, it causes a chemical reaction that turns the liquid into a foam and it expands. So she's gonna pour it into the mold and then put the mold onto the face, and it's gonna fill in all the holes, and then you're gonna have like a squishy piece. Once the foam and latex were cured, I actually just trimmed them with a pair of scissors. It was super easy. And then it was time to paint them. And you know, if this had been any of the other Borg that like had all kinds of crazy stuff, we probably would have had to do one of those elaborate paint jobs with all the ringlets of color that I do and everything. But this is just some little mechanical pieces. So I took some silver metallic acrylic and some Prozade adhesive that you use to actually apply the makeups. It's actually a medical adhesive. And I did a 50-50 mixture. And what this does is, you could just paint the latex with the straight acrylic, but as it moves, it'll crack and peel off. The adhesive that you mix into there, it turns it into a paint we call Pax paint, helps it bind and stay flexible, so it won't come off. I stippled a couple coats of the silver metallic Pax onto the appliances, and then I set them off to the side to dry as I started working on the hand. Ro emailed me some pictures of her hand next to a ruler so I can get all the dimensions. And what I did to make it really simple is just take the photo with the ruler, and I cropped into it. And I blew it up in Photoshop so that the ruler became actual size, so that I knew I was looking at an exact replica of her hand in full scale. I printed that out. And then I printed out the picture of Jerry's hand with the appliance on it. I'm doing the wrong hand, but you get the idea. And I basically just kind of drew onto Ro's hand the shape that I wanted so that I knew it would fit when I laid it onto her actual hand on the day that we shot. I'm sure that the actual appliance that 7 of 9 wore in the show was all sculpted on a cast of her hand, and they spent hundreds and hundreds of hours making it all perfect, but I wanted to try and do a simpler version that you could do from just buying stuff at your local craft store. So I went to Kitcraft and got a package of craft foam, which is like kind of a 1/8 inch thick like paper. It almost looks like construction paper, but it's kind of foamy. I took the black sheet and I took the printout of the hand with the thing that I drew on it and laid that on top, and then kind of just pushed my pencil over it again to make marks in the foam. Took the sheet of paper away, went in with a ballpoint pen, and just redrew it so that I can see it clearly on the blackish gray foam. Then I took an X-Acto knife and just cut the piece out, and it cuts like butter. It's some of the coolest stuff you can use. And once I had the base shape cut out, I took some of the scrap foam and just cut some extra little shapes and glued them on top to just add a couple little layers so it didn't look like a flat piece of foam on her hand. It just gave it some definition. Then I took some plastic lanyard material that Kitcraft also sells. It's like plastic shoelace or just like plastic thread, and it's kind of flat, and people use it to like weave things, and mostly you make lanyards and stuff out of it. But I got some silver stuff and I just cut like strips of it and laid it onto the foam and glued it down so that it just looked like all the wiring and everything in her hand. And the whole thing probably took me like 15 minutes to make. It was pretty simple. Once everything was glued on, took it outside and sprayed it with some metallic silver spray paint. So that was the process I used to make all the appliances, and the next step was to go to set and assimilate Ro.
Oh, great, these are amazing. I can't believe this. I even painted the nails to be like pretty Borgy.
Application was really simple. I just used Telesis adhesive, and because the pieces kind of lay on top and there's no blending or anything, I just had to put the glue on and stick it on, and we were done. What's that?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. It looks amazing. Oh my gosh, okay. Like roll the sleeve up, okay. Oh my gosh, I love it.
That one right underneath. I was gonna make one of these, and then I realized that my friends at Roddenberry Productions actually make like exact replicas of all the props in the show to sell. So this is exact replica of 7 of 9's
oh my gosh.
insignia. So you can stick that on.
I didn't even know you were bringing that because I was like, I'm so excited. Okay.
To be complete.
Can you help me take off the back?
Sure.
I don't want to mess up my hand. All right. Oh my gosh, I'm a Starfleet officer.
It's always fun hanging out with Ro and being on set and watching her bake and being part of her show. Make sure to go check out Nerdy Nummies. We'll put the link below. And of course, be sure to come back to BarnyardFX all through October to see more Halloween stuff. It's going to be scary.